Hey everyone, Skull902 back here again for Sonic 3 and Knuckles. This is part 9 and oh goodness. It's Sandopolis Zone, ladies and gentlemen. I'm actually rather surprised that this video turned out shorter than Flying Battery Zone because it feels a lot longer than Flying Battery Zone or like most of the other zones in this entire game. It's kind of boring, to be honest. It's not the worst thing in the world or anything, but one thing that does make it very bad, or well, I should rephrase that. One of the things that is bad about it is that fucker that you see on screen right now, Skorps. You know, like how I was praising Monkey Dude earlier, hashtag praise Monkey Dude, as, you know, a good enemy, you know, one that, you know, he only tries to hit you once, and, you know, if he does hit you, you deserve it. Skorps is a cheap bastard. Skorps is the anti-Monkey Dude. That's why followers of Monkey Dude and Skorps have been warring with each other for centuries over which one is the better Badnik. Skorps fans, however, fail to realize that their Badnik is a piece of fucking shit that should just immediately be, you know, erased from history. Because, you know, all the death and disease in the world is actually caused by Skorps. I don't know if you knew that, but there's a fun fact for you. Skorps is just responsible for all the bad in our dear world, and nobody should appreciate him. Nobody should appreciate Skorps at all. Terrible Badnik, absolutely cheap. You know, you never have an opportunity to get a good hit on hit in on Skorps, or I should say you almost never have a chance, because that really is the case. You know, you go around trying to face this guy, and he's just such a cheap piece of shit. I can't reiterate that enough. But I said enough, like with a TH. Enough. Look at that. Look at that. And like no opportunity to fucking jump at him. It's so shitty. I hate you, Skorps. I hate you. Oh goodness. So just as a disclaimer, also, I'm fucking joking about Skorps being the cause of all death and disease in the world. I'm not insane. I would like to think that I'm not insane. But, you know, Skorps, probably actually my least favorite Badnik, though, in all of Sonic 3, because again, he's just cheap. You don't get like a good opportunity to get in a hit on him. It's, oh man, he's like this game's shellcracker. Like he's not quite as blindsiding as a slicer, but at the same time, he's just such a fucking dick. That's a particular way to put it. It's just not good, you know. Good enemies in video games should be fair, you know. Like Koopas in Mario, they're fair. You know, Goombas, they're fair. Monkey Dude, totally fair. Monkey Dude's the best. But Skorps can go fuck himself. Skorps can definitely go fuck himself. So here's something that I totally could have avoided, but do a few times in Sandopolis Zone. This is the little rope mechanic. Rope with handles. Don't really. I know that there should be like you know, a proper name for that kind of thing, but whatever. Complete and total inadvertent transformation into hypersonic. Right, think anyway. Who knows? Who cares? Makes Sandopolis faster, so I'm sure you guys can excuse me for all the hyper abuse. But yeah, you know, it's kind of an unremarkable zone, to be honest. You know, it's just another desert area, and I don't know about any of you guys watching, but the desert aesthetic is something I'm not terribly that much of a fan of. I mean, you know, if you want a desert, you're obviously going to have a desert, and it's not like I'm, you know, putting it against the game for having a desert level. But at the same time, you know, desert's just not my thing. I personally, as far as aesthetic goes, prefer something like Ice Cap Zone that's all snowy and wintry, and you know, it's cold and whatnot. I don't think looking at desert levels really reminds me of anything other than, you know, the fucking desert, like it should remind me of. But it's just something I've never really liked looking at, to be perfectly honest. Once again with this fucking bonus level, I'm so thankful for it though. It's a good one. Gives me lots of extra lives. Look at that, 59 lives, ladies and gentlemen. 59 lives. Haven't lost a single one. But enough of that. You know, it's just the desert aesthetic. Here I am again with this fucking thing. Really wanted to fucking save myself some. I don't even know. I guess it's just the safe way of taking things. But, yeah, desert, just again, not my favorite kind of aesthetic, but I don't hold it against anybody, especially not the game developers, for liking or using it in any of their media. Blah. Maybe I'll talk a little more about aesthetic in the next part, because I actually kind of like this whole thing, but now I gotta talk about the mid-boss. This is the Egg Golem. A concept that would be reused in Sonic Adventure 2. It's definitely not as complicated as a boss. Though complicated isn't even like a good word to describe the Adventure 2 boss, but you know, this is even less so. You know, he just jumps towards the sand pit, and you know, you just bop him like that. Or well, you can get him in the back, but it's a bigger hitbox if you do it from the front. And I think it's kind of funny to just bop him in the face and knock him in the sand that way. But yeah, so that was Act 1. That was the Egg Golem, the mini-boss for Sandopolis Zone. And if anyone's wondering what happens, you know, when you get a ring box, and it's on your walkway there in the automated cutscene, that's what happens. Sonic just jumps and gets whatever item is there. So I think that's something. I love how I said that. I think that is something that the Super Gaming Brothers were wondering in one of their playthroughs. You know what happens, and there it is. So you know. Good stuff. I'm glad that the developers thought that much forward about things. So I suppose that's not really something that would be like Stanley level parables of wow, they really thought of everything. But you know, it's good that they have that kind of thing in place. You know, in case say Sonic got stuck during the cutscene and you had to reset the game and be pissed off because why? But yeah, so here's a looping section. Here you gotta make sure you are jumping to the right points, and it's not too hard. You know, it's just 2 simple jumps. This act in Sandopolis has a gimmick of like the light and the light on the inside of the pyramid here, and the ghosts who inhabit it. It is actually possible to avoid breaking the capsule open and releasing the ghosts. I've never been able to do it. I think it's like an extremely precise kind of thing with the electric shield, but it is avoidable. I just have never been able to do it, and it's very hard. Plus, you can't get you can't die. So, like, say if you get a checkpoint and you die, the ghost will just automatically be released, as far as I'm aware. Fuck you, Skorps. I fucking hate you so much. Yeah, kill you like that. I hate Skorps. But, yeah. So, it's a race against time in this level, because, you have, the light, like, working against, you have the light working against you, so you gotta make sure to pull these things, and it's like, you know, it's, at the brightest, you know, there's no ghosts. I don't know if it gets any darker when the ghost first appears, but then it gets darker and a second ghost appears and they look a little mad, and then it gets darker and they look very pissed off, and they have like devil horns, and then eventually they start attacking you too. So it's not a fun time when you start to have to avoid these fuckers, because they're pretty mean. They are pretty mean. I didn't play this game when I was a kid. I don't know if they would have scared me when I was a kid, because the boos in Mario certainly didn't. They are meaner looking than the boos in Mario, but, you know, whatever. So the ghosts, you know, they're just there to scare the shit out of you, even though they're not really that intimidating. And thankfully, you know, they give you enough, I'm gonna call them pulleys. They give you enough pulleys to make sure that you don't really have to worry about, you know, what level of light you're at. Though I suppose for kid players that's a bit more concerning, because obviously kid players are going to have a little less skill playing this than, say, 24-year-old me. But, you know, something to add a little bit of interest to Sandopolis Zone, though it's still a little boring to me, not gonna lie. Again, it's not the worst zone in the world. It's just a little unremarkable. Plus, you got stuff like this that just kind of slows it down. I definitely could have avoided this, but for some reason I didn't. You know, just some more stuff, and thankfully, again, you know, if you have hypersonic, you can make it go by a little bit faster. Since, you know, hypersonic in and of himself is faster. So there you go. Good use of the double jump right there. And I know of at least one more special ring than the one that I'm about to get here. But unfortunately, like, I didn't go the right path to getting the first ring that I'm aware of. But here's the second. It's right before the boss. So you know, that's good if, like, I really do not like the boss because of its timing. So this is one that I always play as super or hypersonic, you know, and if I don't get the chance, I'm actually rather intimidated by it, because it marches forward at you, and I feel like the timing on the platforms is just kind of iffy. It's not fun. I don't think it's very fun. So, yeah, that's it for Sandopolis Zone. I'll see you guys in Lava Reef, and have yourselves a wonderful day.
Doing this in the desert heat sucks.